Hey, Mike from Prep Pros here. I've been a full-time tutor for over 7 years. I just got a perfect 1600 on the March 2023 test. I absolutely nailed my predictions, including some tips for how to solve many of the most missed and hardest questions across the test. So make sure to watch this video all the way through and take notes because I'm going to cover 10 things you absolutely are going to see on the May 2023 SAT and 5 bonus topics which I think are going to be tested for your most difficult math questions. Now, the first concept you're going to see on your SAT are what we're going to call cheatable graphs, because you don't actually have to know what you're doing to find the right answer. We saw multiple of these on the March 2023 test, so we're going to take a look at an exponential form here from last year. Now, here looks really tricky, but all you want to do is pick points and plug them in. So we have the point 0, -1. I could also pick the point 2, 2. Now I can just plug and chug with my answers. Well, 2 to the 0, which is what all of these are going to start off with, is simply going to be 1. Well, if we plug in 0, we need to get -1. 1 plus 2 does not equal -1. 1 plus 1 does not equal -1. 1 minus 1 equals 0. 1 minus 2 equals -1. We only need to even plug in 1 point for many of these questions to get them correct. Now, the second topic you're definitely going to see is interpreting constants. And the majority of these questions focus on 1, 0, or infinite solutions. So this table is a must memorize, but let's take a look at an example so we can focus on applying it. In the given system of equations, p is a constant. The system has no solution. What is the value of p? Well, no solution is the same as 0 solutions, so the coefficients for the x terms, these must be the same, and the constants are different. Well, the constants are already different, so all we need to do is make 3 equal p, therefore d is our correct answer. Now, the third thing you're definitely going to see are exponents. And this little table from my math book is going to help you with all of your core rules. But the SAT has really been loving fractional exponents. So now the first thing here is we want to start with this part of the problem. And we can see that here we're applying our power rule. So we're going to have our same k to the 5/16, but now we're going to be doing k to the 3/2 times 5/8. And this is going to be the same as k to the 15/16. Well, now, since we're adding the two of them, following our product rule, this is going to end up equaling k to the 20/16. And this is where everybody gets stuck, because we look over here, and none of these are matching up. But we see 4/5, 5/8, 15/16. We know that's definitely not right. So let's try to simplify this down. Well, 20/16 is the same as 5/4. Now, we are correct with all of our work, but we need to be comfortable applying this fraction power rule to be able to get to our right answer. To the 5/4 power is the same as the 4th root of k to the 5th. This is why understanding all of your exponent rules is so incredibly important. Now, the fourth thing you're going to see are intercept questions, and these are free points. This was question 15 from the March 2023 test. All you have to know is if you're looking for the y-intercept, plug 0 in for x. If you're looking for the x-intercept, plug 0 in for y. So 5 to the 0 equals 1. 1 plus 3 equals 4. Our y-intercept is at the point 0, 4. Now, the fifth topic you're definitely going to see is exponential growth and decay. And once again, for my book, here is the simple formula which is going to help you handle about 90% of these questions correctly. So we're going to look back at this example. In 2005, 10 phlox plants were planted in a garden. The number increased by 140% each year. Which of the following equations best models the estimated number of plants t years after 2005? Well, p is our initial value, so we know we have to see 10 in the initial spot, get rid of a and b. Now it's increasing by 140%. We know this equation is always 1 plus or minus, and this is going to be the rate of growth or decay expressed as a percentage. 140 is the same as 1.4, so 1 plus 1.4 is going to give us our 2.4. Pretty easy once you know your rules. Now, the sixth topic you're going to see on the SAT are quadratics, and there's around 15 quadratic question types that show up SAT to SAT, but knowing your rules is really, really important because all of these things show up quite consistently. Your sum of solutions, like we saw in the March 2023 test, the same thing with our discriminant rules, knowing how to solve the SAT's favorite quadratic style question, understanding how to deal with these special system of equations with quadratics. I'm not going to run through all of these rules here in this video because in my free trial, you don't need a credit card. You're going to get detailed lessons teaching all of the topics and all of the tricks and tips you need to know. And you're going to get over 40 questions explained in detailed video format. So I strongly recommend you to go and sign up there. If you had gone through this for the March test, you easily would have picked up an extra handful of the hardest questions on the test. Now, the seventh and eighth things that you're going to see on your SAT are punctuation rules, and we're going to focus on dashes, and sentence structure, which you may have noticed was taught in my free trial. But let's start with the dash rules here. Now, for dashes, most of the time if you see one dash in the sentence, you simply need to add a second. But the way you can really tell this is correct is where you put the second dash, you should be able to get rid of everything between the two of them. If it sounds okay once you pull it out, that's a super easy confirmation that the dash is correct. Now, sentence structure is a little bit more involved. You need to be able to identify independent and dependent clauses and know the rules for joining them. But once you do that, you can see for questions like this where we have independent clause before the comma, independent clause after the comma, the only answer choice which is going to be grammatically correct for joining the two of them together is going to be our comma plus fanboys here. Once you know those rules, it's one of the easiest places to pick up some points. Now, the ninth thing you're definitely going to see are these most effectively combines questions. And on most SATs, you see 3 or 4 of these, so there's a lot of points. There's a few simple rules you can follow to get them right. Number one, when in doubt, pick the shortest answer. Around 80-85% of the time, that shortest answer is correct. But for the more difficult ones, number one, do not pick an answer with a semicolon. Number two, watch out for wordiness and redundancy. Do not pick an answer choice that has passive voice. And make sure you're expressing the same idea the original sentence does. When you start to change the meaning of the sentence, that is a big no-no, but here pretty simply, B is our correct answer. Now for our 10th tip, we're gonna jump over to the reading section, and almost every single SAT reading passage starts off with a question about the passage as a whole. I teach these as broad passage questions. The most important thing you can do here to save yourself time and get these right more consistently is answer them at the end of every single passage. You're going to end up rereading so much of the passage as you work through the smaller questions that you're going to be able to better answer these questions at the end, and you're going to avoid wasting time reskimming the passage when you're going to have to reskim it anyways. Now on to my 5 predictions of the advanced math question types you need to be prepared for. The first, which we have been seeing a ton of, are exponent questions where you need to reduce your bases like this. The second thing is scale factor questions. These can range from slightly easier questions like this to slightly more advanced questions like we saw in March of last year and we saw in the fall of this year as well. Now the third thing is interpreting constants in polynomial equations. We saw this twice last spring, hasn't come up on the last few tests, so it's ripe for a return. The fourth thing is exponential growth and decay functions with unit conversions in them. And the fifth thing that you are likely to see are word problems involving quadratics. Now, if you're looking for practice with questions like those and detailed explanations, which are going to teach you all of the tips and tricks and strategies to not only get the specific question you miss right, but also get any similar question right on future SATs, there's no better resource than my advanced SAT math course. It's helped tons of students score 750 plus, and many students get 800s on the SAT math. It's really just all about learning how to solve these questions. They're not nearly as difficult as they look once you know the secrets for solving them. Now, I hope this video has really helped you out overall. If it has, please like and subscribe. If you're looking for a course to help you quickly prepare for the May SAT, I strongly recommend checking out my crash course, where I will teach you all of the most common question types and strategies across all of the sections on the SAT. If you're ready to put in a little bit more time and prep for May and June, or even prep over the summer, I strongly recommend signing up for my Ultimate SAT course. It is also backed by a 100-point score improvement guarantee.